Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Christmas Gift Ideas 2025 edition. My first guest is a first-time guest. You'll see her bio in a bit and just join us and learn more about her book. See you. Welcome to the Quip Corners Book Corner, Nie.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, I'm looking forward to a great time. I mean, after our get to know you, I was like, I
Yes.
need to get to know her some more.
I definitely left feeling excited and inspired as well, by what you're doing. And yeah, it was really lovely to get to know you. So thank you for that introduction. And here we are. Time
Yes,
flies, hey?
yes, yes, yes. So tell us more. You have a book to share with us? Tell us more.
I do indeed. I do indeed. So my book are they're actually reflective journals.
Okay.
And so they're called the 91 Days to Self-Awareness Reflective Journal.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in 4 volumes. So
Okay.
that's, 2 and 3 and 4, So
Mm-hmm.
it each one represents a quarter of the year. So 91 days, about 3 months, and it's a real myriad of themes. So I suppose the premise for these journals is I don't know what Canada's like, but living in London, it is a very fast-paced, busy city.
Yeah.
A bit like New York. It's a city that
Mm-hmm.
never sleeps,
Never sleeps.
and so I think what so I'm a leadership coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I do leadership coaching and mentoring. And, I've been coaching leaders now since 2017. And one of the things that I found was that a lot of leaders are busy working, and life is full, life is pressured. But one of the things I started noticing is that in the busyness of life, a lot of people, leaders, non-leaders, miss, just key moments. And, what's common becomes uncommon,
Mm.
as they say, common sense becomes not
Not
common.
common.
And that concerned me a lot. And just with the issues that brought about is, missing obvious cues, whether it with your team, or missing obvious cues with your spouse, your children, relationships. And one of the quotes that really I hold dear is by Carl Jung, this psychotherapist, where he says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate.
Hmm.
And that quote is really powerful for me. And I feel like it underlines the work that I do as a leadership and self-awareness coach. And obviously as Christians as well, I'm a practicing Christian. I take my faith very seriously, and it is just a part of who I am, my lifestyle, the way I coach, the way I mentor. And one of the things that really stood out to me when the idea, and I really believe God put the idea of this journal on my heart, um, is that, Jesus said he came to open the eyes of the blind.
Yeah.
And for me, I feel like that is the key to growth. That is the key to change. That is the key to, revelation, which leads to, that self-awareness, and
Mm-hmm.
then the changes we make in our lives, and therefore the growth that takes place.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I find is just that blindness to life, whether it's spiritual
Mm.
blindness or just blindness in life
Yeah.
in general, does require revelation to overcome. And and I feel like, because the world is so noisy, I just felt the need for myself, but also for the people that I serve,
Yeah.
whether in my coaching or in ministry, um, is the need to sit with ourselves, to be able to reflect, to be
Yeah.
able to slow down
Mm-hmm.
and, take captive every thought, so that we can bring that into subjection to, as Christians, to our Creator, our
Yeah.
Lord, but also just as human beings generally, to be able to say, what's driving this behavior? What's driving this feeling? What's driving this, whether it's our anxiety, whether it's, that relationship conflict, or whether
Yeah.
it's just not being able to manage something, or maybe even it's a trauma that's playing up in people's lives and they just can't see it because they haven't sat with themselves. And so the real work of change cannot begin until self-awareness takes place. And no one changes until they're self-aware. And so I feel like, in the journals, it is a way, it's an invitation, for people to sit with themselves.
Yeah.
It's an invitation to introspection. It
Mm-hmm.
is an invitation to self-exploration. And it covers it covers a range of topics.
Okay.
The first volume starts with setting your intentions. So again, it asks yourselves, it's about asking yourself different questions, and looking at your life holistically as
Yeah.
well. So as a leader, for example, is what is your intention in leading? What is your intention? And through those kind of, and a lot of the questions that I put in there are questions that have perhaps come up with clients that I've worked with, or even
Mm-hmm.
questions I've asked myself, or questions that others have asked me
Yeah.
in, sort of certain areas of life. And so I really believe that questions, rather than telling people what to do, which is easy to do, but in order to make something our own conviction, we have to sit with ourselves and ask ourselves questions. And when we can answer those questions, it becomes a conviction for us.
Mm.
So the first volume of the journal starts with setting intentions. So what is your intention, for your life? What is your
Yeah.
intention for your leadership? And,
Yeah.
what is your intention as a husband or wife, or,
Mm-hmm.
as a parent, as a son or daughter or whatever, and I think once we start to ask, and the questions are very simple, so they're not meant to be overcomplicated. And so the journals are meant to be a guide, a
Mm-hmm.
companion,
Yeah.
because sometimes I've heard people say, oh, I'm journaling, I don't know where to start, because it's just kind of open. I was like, I've done the hard work for you.
Yes. Yes. I've done the heavy
you know
lifting. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So just ask yourself the question, sit. And so the first volume kind of builds on different themes. So once you set your intentions, then that learning to practice mindfulness then comes in, that sitting with yourself, noticing, being present with who you are and what you do and how you relate. Because I think self-awareness has two parts to it. There's an awareness of self, but there's also an awareness of how you impact others or how others perceive you. And
Yeah.
so it's that kind of being mindful of what's going on, what happened in that interaction. Oh, their body language, what did that say to me, or their
Mm-hmm.
facial expression or their tone of voice. And
Yeah.
just being able to be mindful of what's going on around us, or even with ourselves. Oh,
Mm.
that feeling I had,
Yeah.
why did I find it hard to why do I find it hard calling that particular person? Why do I find it easy calling that particular person, or
Yeah.
stepping into this situation or not stepping into that? Why do I hold back? And so, and doing that takes courage. So the next theme in volume one is courage. And then it just builds on, sort of
On that.
physical awareness, emotional awareness, spiritual
Mm-hmm.
awareness,
Mm-hmm.
and on relationships.
Nice.
So, there each volume has 13 weeks, so 13 different topics, and
Yeah,
plus a
yeah.
bonus day to just calibrate.
Nice.
Um, yeah, so yeah,
Wow. 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 There are a few things that popped in my head while you were talking.
yes,
And the first thing is that you can't change what you don't see.
yes,
Because you may
absolutely,
make a change and you're making the wrong change just because you didn't see what you needed to see.
absolutely,
Yeah. So I really like
absolutely.
that. I really like, how you're talking about,
Mm.
and then the sitting with yourself and being present. A quip actually dropped in my heart when you were saying that, and it was like, being present is a present you give yourself and to those
Absolutely.
around you. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's one thing I say about these journals, that they are a gift to yourself. They really are. It's a gift to yourself. Like, every week when because I have a newsletter that goes out on the themes each week. And every week I feel like doing this and sitting with that topic and going through it myself is a
Mm-hmm.
gift to myself.
Nice.
It is something that, and it feels like each week, and this is to show the kind of the vastness and the range, of us as humans.
Yeah.
Each week I feel like the topic speaks to me so deeply, and there is something that I always come away with, a revelation that I always come
Mm-hmm.
away with. And and sometimes, and it's interesting because even with the journal, I intentionally did the graphic with someone looking in the mirror, but not just looking in the mirror, they're actually reaching into it, leaning into themselves to touch
Okay.
themselves. So that again is very deliberate,
Mm.
because sometimes we can, yeah, look in the mirror and we walk away. But
Yeah. You're like,
actually,
whatever.
do we,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But the whole point of having a mirror is so that we can make adjustments, right?
That's
When your
needed.
lipstick is
Yes.
going that way or your
Yes.
hair is out
Yes.
of place or
Yes.
whatever,
Yes.
it's to
Yeah.
make adjustments. So
Yeah.
that again is very, very deliberate, in the
Nice.
creation
Okay.
of this.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks for answering that question because I was gonna ask, tell me about the cover. But
Right.
thank you for beating me to that.
Pleasure.
So I'm curious, just out of curiosity,
Yes.
was there any thought to the colors, or it was just I need each one to be a different color?
So yes, I wanted each one to be a different color. I think the first and the second were easy. I
Okay.
thought the first one, it was black, bold, the white stood out. I definitely
Mhm.
wanted that graphic to stand out. And so I
Okay.
thought, well, black, as a background really brings out the white. And so I thought, okay, they have to be darker colors. So and so the next one I thought gray, but then when I played around with it, the dark gray looked so similar to the black
Black. Yeah.
that I had to change it to a lighter shade. And then navy, of course, was my next choice. The
Hmm.
final one was really, really hard because I thought,
Okay.
after you've had black and gray and navy, what comes next? White with a black. And I was like, it was so hard to choose that one. I was like, no, not red. And it's interesting because when I launched the journals, it was around this time last year, no, October last year was when I,
Hmm.
I did a launch. And the host asked, hey, would anyone want to see this in different colors? And so people were putting in different colors. And
Yeah.
in my excitement and naivete, I was like, okay, yeah, let's do this in different colors. It didn't really work. It didn't really work. People said they wanted orange, but nobody bought the orange. And people said they wanted green. And so
Yep.
I just kind of put those on hold. And I was like, okay, they'll just be in this. And
Hmm.
so I wanted something that was kind of between brown and maroon, and
Yeah.
and so that's what we went for. But I think for each one, I just wanted that graphic to really pop out,
Okay.
to capture the attention of the reader or the user.
Okay. So I'd like you to read something from you choose a color. I was
Yes,
going to choose a
yes.
color, but since there's no orange, I can't choose orange. What can I say? So
Ah,
I'm just playing with you. So choose one of the books and just read something from it so we get a
right.
taste.
Okay, let's see. So What I'll do is I'll go to the first volume. So I
Okay.
think each journal
Mm-hmm.
is preceded by a quote,
Okay.
and then each day has three questions to answer. Now, the first quote I've already told you, which is the Carl Jung quote. This is what is in the first one, which is until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. I'm gonna go to, let's see what topic. Uh, I'm gonna go to courage. So for courage, oh, it's a Martin Luther King quote. And it says, we must build dikes of courage to hold back the flood of fear. And that really stood out to me because I thought fear is one of the biggest reasons why we don't grow, we don't change, we don't step out in faith, we don't follow our dreams, why visions die. And when I saw that, this quote actually it built a visual in my head.
Mm-hmm.
When he talked about building dikes of courage, I mean, a dike, is just this huge structure
Yeah.
and holding back the flood of it, because fear can overwhelm us. That flood of just,
Very
it can
easily.
paralyze us. And so for me, that, you have to build this huge structure,
Mm-hmm.
to actually hold back, from being overwhelmed, stem the flow of the fear.
Yeah.
And, on each day, there, as I said, there's three questions. And for the morning question for courage, it asks the reader, what does courage mean to me? And
Mm.
how can I show courage today?
Mm.
And so the whole point of this is to hold that question with you throughout the day, and then check in with yourself in the afternoon. So there's a midday question.
Okay.
How have I shown courage thus far today? It's a very simple question. What does courage look like?
Mm-hmm.
Have I actually practiced it? And then in the evening, at the end of the day, after life has thrown everything at you, then it's, how do I feel about how I exercised courage
Mm.
today? And the whole point of that is to be able to, again, that introspection, that
Yeah.
invitation to look within. Courage for you might look very different to courage for me.
Sure.
We're all different personality types.
Mm-hmm.
We all have different backgrounds and different temperaments. And so asking that question, what did courage look like for me today? Could have been that, oh, that colleague that I needed to bring something up with, I managed to do that. Whereas for somebody else, that's no big deal. But for another person, it's taken a lot. They've overcome those, somatic, those physical feelings, the anxiety, the worry, the stomach cramps, the
Mm-hmm.
headaches, or whatever it is that they've had to overcome,
Yeah.
in order to take that, for what for some people might be a small action, but for them was
Yeah.
huge. They can celebrate that,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And the end of the week invites celebration.
Okay.
So you repeat the questions each day. I don't change the questions. It's the same
Okay.
question each
Okay.
day, because
Mm-hmm.
that's intentional, because I want the
Mm-hmm.
reader to build mastery. Again, it's not to overwhelm, it's to build mastery.
Yeah.
And at the end of the week, so you've got a Saturday reflection and then a Sunday reflection. And all it asks is, I have come to the awareness that dot, 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 you fill in the
You
blanks.
fill it in.
So I've come to the awareness that actually for me, courage looks like this. It's a
Mm.
small step to speak. Or courage for me means actually, when you do speak, nothing bad actually happens. My
Yeah.
brain just tricks me, or
Yeah.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
individual. So yeah, so
Nice.
that's how the journals are set up.
I like the way you set it up. Um, not that my opinion matters, it's published, but I like the way you set it up. It sounds like you're causing or training us to slow down.
Yes.
because the way it's set up, it creates a discipline to say, okay, I have a check-in later today. And it's not a one and done. It's like, what does courage mean to me? And then ooh, I go through the day. No, no, no. I
Yeah.
have a check-in to say, okay, how am I doing so far? Do I need to make any adjustments? And how do I want to show up the rest of the day? So it's really nice.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Really
And
nice.
it's interesting because I think even in the introductions and in the I put something there on how to use the journal. Because as I
Mm-hmm.
said, I was thinking about people who don't journal naturally. It
Yeah.
doesn't come naturally. Some people are free journalers where they just kind of
Yes.
write things.
Yeah.
But this, I wanted it to be more than that. I wanted it
Mm-hmm.
to be that you actually grow in the process. So it's not just therapeutic, it's
Yeah.
actually transformational as well. And so, when I wrote the journals, like in how to use this journal, I've written, each week is devoted to a specific theme, guiding you through 7 days of deep reflection, morning, afternoon, and evening, as well as the weekend. You'll
Mm.
carve out precious moments to pause, reflect, and document your thoughts and emotions. This simple act of writing will unveil the magic within you, offering clarity and insight where there was once uncertainty.
Mm.
I encourage you to persevere through any initial discomforts. Remember, this journal, and you said this earlier, is a gift to yourself, a sanctuary of self discovery and growth.
Mm.
Embrace each reflection as a step towards understanding yourself more deeply. Set a timer to help you build the habit to pause and take stock morning, afternoon, and evening. And as you approach the bonus day, take time to reflect on how this practice has enriched your life. Imagine the possibilities of continuing this journey of self reflection beyond these pages. So yeah, and so on and so forth. And then I introduced that there will be a volume two, and and
Nice.
subsequent volumes. Yes.
Nice. So where can people get copies of your journal?
Yay. My journals are available on Amazon worldwide.
Nice.
So yeah, so you can get them on Amazon, all four of the volumes. And yeah, and one of the things that I'm thinking about in the future as well is creating, because I've been asked that, and I thought, yeah, I need to do that, creating an edition for Christians specifically.
Okay, beautiful.
So rather than having quotes,
Yes.
it will have scripture
Scriptures.
in it, and
Mm,
sort of
interesting.
similar themes also, because I do
Yeah.
feel like these themes are universal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so they are available on Amazon, and you can also get them through my website, which is www.neaoceanbee, one word.com. So
Okay.
there is a link there as well.
So if I wanted an autographed copy,
Mhm.
would it be through your website or how will that work for those who are in London or in the environs?
That is a really, really good question, So, oh, I have to think about that one. I haven't been asked because I've been doing so even next week I'm doing an exhibition,
Uh-huh.
and I will have the journals there, and I will have an opportunity to sign those journals. Maybe one day, maybe I'll go on a road trip, but I think you've given me an idea of something that I need to take into account. And I need to talk to people who do that. How do you do that? So I would have, because what I've tried to do is, yeah, just have that sent directly. But what I would have to do is, if someone wants that, then I would have to have the stocks that I have at home. I would have to sign that and then,
Yes.
send that out. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I do with my books. I have
Okay.
some at home, and then people can place, can either reach to me through any of the social media handles, or
Yeah.
they can go to my blog and then reach out to me and place an
Yeah.
order, and then I mail it out to them. So that's
Fantastic.
something you may want to
That's what
consider.
I will do.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, people. That's what I'm going to do.
So that's the answer to the question. I guess
That's
you
the
always
answer to
had
the
the answer.
question.
See?
Yeah, I did. I did. I just haven't been pushed in that direction because I've had, places where I've been physically. And so, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Well, but
Yeah.
thank you so much for taking the time to do this and taking the time to share.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. And, I also, as I mentioned earlier, write a weekly newsletter. And so if the audience, people want to join that, it's,
Hmm.
you can join and subscribe to the newsletter where you will get, the themes. I have a community of journalists, and we go through this together each week. And yeah, you can join on www.neaoceanbee.com/newsletter.
Okay.
And yeah, you can also find, write-ups on my LinkedIn page, NEA Ocean B, or on my Facebook,
Hmm.
Coach NEA Ocean B, and on my Instagram is also Coach NEA Ocean B. Those are my handles.
Okay.
So either of those channels, you will be able to see a lot of content based
Okay.
on the journals.
So could you just send me those in an email so I can add
Yes,
them below, this video
fantastic.
so people can, they don't start saying, okay, I need to rewind to
Right.
the 10th minute of the 30th second of 10th minute.
Yes,
Let's make it
yes.
easier.
Will
Okay.
do.
If you
Will
send those
do.
to me, I'll add them below.
Okay,
Thank
will
you.
do. Will do. Thank you so much for having me on. And
You're
it's
welcome.
been a fascinating conversation. And I thank you for just allowing me to share the joy of this, project with your audience as well, and with you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
How was that? I guess it was a book of books. Sounds like a great gift. Now is the best time to get it. So whoever you give it to, or even if you're giving it to yourself, you can use it next year. Below this, you'll see how you can get copies of the journals, all 4 volumes. I mean, if you want, you can buy a volume at a time, but you may be better served getting all 4 at a go. Well, if you have any questions, NEA's contact details are below, so feel free to reach out to her. Thanks again for joining me, and stay tuned. There are other books coming up. God bless you. Bye now.